Welcome to the Critically Clueless. I'm the monk. We've got Gavin, we've got Calvin here, and we're doing a video for you a little bit different. We're going to do games of the decade. So starting our list, we have got Gavin.
Starting my games. That's going to be fun. Well, as you can see from the video, we are doing from games that we've already picked. We have got some games that are duplicated at the bottom. You'll see there. We won't be going into massive amount of details why we actually like these games, but we'll just be touching on the subjects that we do actually enjoy. We're going to pick from our list at the bottom, and we're going to pop them into our tier list here. So my first game obviously is going to have to be GTA. Obviously GTA for some people is a bit of a touchy subject. I've got a bloody... This is the problem with having a small screen laptop. I can't put it all the way to the top. So my top 10 obviously is GTA. For the simple fact, I've been playing it since day one on release. It did come out buggy. It did come out with a lot of issues. And as a lot of YouTube videos are coming up now with the Grand Theft Auto Online taxation crap, I can't justify the freaking people putting them up for the simple fact that everything on GTA Online is too fucking expensive. But
You see, I would have put it on my list, but for me, it's too much of a grind. You have to put too much time and effort into that game. Now, single player wise, it was a good game, but when it comes to online, it's just too much effort to actually get all that stuff that
well, there was a
that
video,
makes that game what it is.
Yeah, there was a video I actually watched the other day, and it was when the game first came out, the most expensive car was like $1 million dollars on it, and to actually grind for it, it'd take 4 hours. So 4 hours of constant gameplay by yourself. That is, obviously, if you're not playing with friends and things like that, you're going to win a bit more money if you play.
Yeah, that was at the beginning of the section, though, wasn't it? That was the beginning of when the game sort of got released into the online section and all that. Obviously, it was a lot more of a grind back then to do and get money and stuff. But now it's a lot easier than it was back then. But I suppose there's more things that are on the game now that are more expensive.
Well, that's the thing. Everything is like.
By the way, you're putting this as your Triple S game, yeah?
Yes, this is my top.
Well, I'm not going to disagree because that was actually on my Triple S as well, to be totally honest. So,
do you want me to move yours now?
You might as well.
Do you
because
remember you're supposed to be doing your least favorite on your list, not your best?
I thought that, yeah. But I think we're doing it the wrong. We're doing it this way now because we've done it this way.
No, we're not. No, you fucked up because you're a pleb as usual, and we will go through our list the way it was intended to do, from bottom to top. Okay, so on my list is one I don't think you guys have played actually. It's the Walking Dead, the Telltale series, the complete. Well, I've got the complete series. You can actually buy that as a thing rather than just the first season. Now, I would never play these games. I didn't like the point and click games, when it first came out. I hated it. But when I played this game, it proper, I got completely into the game. I lost myself. There was immersion. I had a good lot of fun. The choices. I was wrapped up in what was going to happen to this little girl throughout the series. I was really, really impressed with the game, to be honest with you, because I wasn't expecting anything from it at all.
Well, wasn't that the worst one? Wasn't that the one they pulled away from?
No, that was.
Or was that something else?
That was the other Walking Dead game, which was terrible.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
okay.
you're thinking of something different. This is the Telltale series. They actually went bankrupt in the end, which is a shame.
Yeah.
What, the Telltale series went bankrupt?
Yeah, they brought out a lot of stuff, but it got rebrought and it's being rebranded, and they're re-releasing more games. I think.
Well, they've done Batman Telltale series as well.
Yeah.
If it's the same.
They've done a lot. They've done Guardians of the Galaxy and all that as well.
Oh,
so
right,
what
fair
rank
enough.
would you put that in? So
He's putting that as bottom.
It is
That's
so.
Yeah. So go on, Calvin. What's yours, mate?
What's my eye? Fable 3, mate.
Fable 3, I like that.
Bottom of the
you
list.
see,
I mean,
it sucks because we're doing games of the decade. Fable 2, so much better, but Fable 3 is still a top game.
I know. I would have rather had Fable 2 on the list, to be totally honest, but it didn't actually reach that that section of the decade. Obviously, it was just a little bit too far out, I think. I can't remember how many years, but
yeah, I remember that game.
Fable 3, though, definitely a good game.
I didn't actually play any of the Fables. I've never.
You're missing
need
out,
to
man.
play them.
It's a bit late, and we haven't had a Fable game for 10
For
years,
a long
which
time,
is
yeah.
insane.
Yeah, you still need to play them though. It's one of those games you can definitely jump back on and play again.
on.
I mean, I remember playing Fable 1 quite a few times, Fable 2 quite a few times, Fable 3 quite a few times as well. Yeah, you got immersed into the story.
And the living world that you had, I thought was
Yeah.
awesome. I really thought that game. That was a really good
It
game. It was
was-
ahead of its time. You know, like games
Definitely.
today that had so many mechanics in it that you wouldn't see in games of today, which is so dumb. But like those old school games, those games that were a decade old, they have so many mechanics in them
Well,
that they just wouldn't be able to fit into games these days, which is
most games now where
too
you've got
retarded.
obviously you're controlling the character or the way you want to be and stuff like that, and if you want to be good and evil or whatever, most games don't actually have that now. They sort of make out that you've got the option to do that, but you don't. Whereas this game actually did.
If
could
you
be
remember
whatever
though,
you
you
fucking
could actually
wanted in
there
that
was
game.
even
It was
a
great.
living economy. You could buy the houses, you could rent them out. You know, you could make profit. You could do whatever you wanted in that game.
Yeah, it was a
Almost,
lot.
you
There was a
know,
lot of stuff on it, and
good, bad, or corrupt. It was good.
it's a shame it couldn't go higher on my list, but with everything else that's actually been put on there, it had to come
It
as
had
the
to come
bottom,
as
to be
the bottom.
totally honest.
You see, the thing
Which
with
is a little bit annoying, but
older games, I think, is a lot of publishers are putting older games out as final products. They're not putting out like today's games where they're putting out a quarter of a product and then the rest you get as a DLC or a freaking season pass.
Yep.
The older games, the older generation, they were put out like this is the final product. What else comes extra is a bonus.
well, I mean, if you can think as well, try and remember back. Do you ever remember games being released before they were actually ready to be released?
No.
Do you remember games being put on preview
I don't
sections?
know. Some games were buggy as shit when
It
they first come
wasn't.
out.
No, but what I mean was because most games now, if it's in the preview section, it will come up saying that this game is still in the preview section and it's not in
Oh
its
yeah,
full development yet. They
yeah.
never used to do that, and it's funny. the
They
fact
need
that
money to
that's the
help
way
their
they do it.
game being,
That's
you
what
know,
it is.
actually.
That's what it is.
Okay, Gavin. Finally, what is your worst game on your good list?
Okay, so my worst game on my good list is Far Cry. Such a weird saying, but I'd say Far Cry 4. So that's the one with
I never
what's his
played that.
face?
I did, but I didn't actually do the full story because I got bored.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite. I mean, it wasn't as good as some of the others. That's obviously why it's on
It
the
was
bottom of the
not
list.
as good as Far Cry 3, mate.
But
I'm assuming that's not Primal, Far Cry 4.
no, Far Cry 4.
No, Far Cry Primal is after
Okay,
Far Cry
I
4,
liked Primal. I
and
enjoyed
then it
Primal.
was
I have never actually
Far
played
Cry 5.
through Primal. I've got Primal, but I've never. I'm probably about 5 hours into it, and I just can't find the oomph to pick it up and think, okay, well, I'm going to complete this now because I never actually enjoyed it.
No,
It wasn't.
but I mean, Far Cry 4 felt the same for me, to be totally honest. There was no. It felt very similar to Far Cry 3 with the way the story was done with with obviously the villain. We'll call him the villain, the bad guy, whatever you want to call him.
Mhm.
It was very similar to the way Far Cry 3 was sort of done, the way he was,
Yeah.
the way he genuinely acted, and it was like didn't like it.
What did you like about the game then, Gavin?
To be honest, I thought that visually it was a stunning game. For when it came
Oh,
out,
yeah.
visually it was stunning. The gameplay was decent. You know, it was one game that I literally played from start to finish. The little things they put into it, like the freaking the start of the game, where you can complete the game in 20 minutes by literally staying in the room that the guy tells you to stay in.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That
Yeah, you do have a choice at the beginning, don't you?
yeah, they
You
put
can either sort of be bad or not.
yeah, you can complete the game in boss. Even throughout the game, there's little bits where if you don't do like this sort of thing,
Twice.
you can complete it earlier or sort of thing. But it obviously
Basically, if you want to make the choice to become bad
yes,
and go
it's
over to the dark
the
side.
dark.
Well,
But
the next
yeah,
game on my list is Minecraft.
So that's on the H.
So for me, Minecraft was one of those games that I avoided for a long time. I saw it as a kid's game. I avoided it for quite a while. And then when I finally picked it up and started playing it and realized it was a survival game, I was like, wow, it has a lot more depth to that game than I realized. And then I started playing with you guys. And it had even more depth as well. No, I realised, like, because I thought I knew the game. I thought I'd mastered the game just in my own little world. I'd never played with anyone else, never saw any videos or anything like that.
There's a lot more.
And then I played with you guys, and I realised just how in depth and how much of that game you could do. And I was just like, really helped me step up my game, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I put a lot more hours in that game than I thought I would have. And my kids love the game. And it's really, over the last decade, it's been an amazing game for the console.
Constant updates, improving it, making it better. Obviously,
they're still doing it now.
Yeah,
it's got bees in it now.
Yeah, it's bees.
Bumblebees. Little bumblebees.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I've got to go back on it because my little boy, he's been asking me to do videos on it, so I will go back on that game at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we will have another. We will have a game. Yeah, but we will have a game night on there anyway for questions. Anyway, there's a map that I've set up for it. So.
Yeah.
All right, Marty, what you got next?
What we on?
We are on H.
H.
You're on your second game.
Oh, H, Far Cry 3 for me. Unfortunately, again, I would like to put this higher, but
I never played it.
Do you know what? It was one of those games that you could finish, complete it, and pick it straight back up and start it again.
To be fair, you could do that with 5 because it was so fucking short and shit.
No, but not in the sense of that at all.
Yeah.
In the sense of because it was actually a good story point to it.
Yeah,
well.
no, I get
The character that they sort of pursued, and it was kind of reminds you a little bit like the Joker, in a sense.
Okay.
So
it has a good villain.
Very good villain.
Isn't the Far Cry franchise known for their villains though? They're known for having good villains, aren't they, throughout their series?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, they've had a few games that have been out, and
the last couple
have been great. I mean, Far Cry 5, I didn't like the fucking villains at all. They were shite.
To be fair, I did. I quite liked the cult in that game, but it's just the game itself that
it wasn't as good.
No, I mean, but Far Cry 3 at the time, graphics wise at that time as well, brilliant as well. Gameplay. Brilliant.
I've got the game on the Xbox. I just never played it.
You need to play it, man. Just give it a go.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that
you
you will immerse yourself into it quite quickly.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's a good thing about it. But again, I would like that to be higher. But again, there's reasons why.
There's reasons. So on to my H, and mine is also Minecraft. So
Minecraft, nice.
Why did I not put that on?
We agree on that. Brilliant.
Agree.
Okay, on my list for my next one is Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. Now, I haven't played a Metal Gear Solid game since like Metal Gear Solid 2 or something like that. And I played this game and it was open. Now, admittedly, the first hour of that game, you have to get through that. You know what I mean? That is painful.
That felt like a lot longer than an hour.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like 4 fucking hours, the prologue session.
The prologue was awful. But once that game got going, it blew my mind. I loved it. The open world, the tactics, you could go in being sneaky, or you could just blow the shit out of a base.
So, yeah, I know Gavin's going to agree with you on this one.
Well, yeah.
I spent about 70 hours in that game. I loved it.
Absolutely. It is a great game. Now, the one thing I can agree on definitely is the sneaky part to it. So I obviously love doing the sneaky parts to it, but as you play the game longer and longer, so if you go into bases and you're always doing headshots, the enemies change, so they'll start to wear helmets.
It's a smart.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and
it's a very smart game.
If you only go in at night time, then they'll start to carry torches. So, it changes, adapts to your playing style, and say if you wanted to make the game a bit easier, you could then send some of your team from your home base to intercept, say, a shipment of helmets, a shipment of torches, or whatever it was, and the next couple of bases that you go to are not going to have them upgrades to them because you've intercepted it before.
I think I liked the collecting, the fact that you could build your own base up through stealing stuff from them as well. I love that. And Quiet was fit.
Oh, God,
loved her.
But I mean, when you first fought Quiet, how did you do it?
Oh, I don't even remember now. I just remember her in a helicopter all the time.
Right.
And visiting her when she was in jail,
and
she was mainly my companion as well.
Yeah. D-Dog.
Can't ask me. You can't ask me that question because I never actually played the game. But
the dog.
I will say though, with what you just said about the game and that's very realistic. The way they're actually adapting to the way
they adapt to.
You play the game.
That
that's
game
very
deserves a lot
that.
more credit than it got.
Yeah, the online part to it I didn't enjoy.
No.
I mean, you could raid other people's bases as well, things like that. And if my dog shuts up and stops digging the couch, I mean, it was a fantastic game. To be honest, I don't actually know why I've not got it on my list, but it was.
Well, at least you agree with me anyway.
Yeah, definitely agree. So,
go on, Marty. What you got?
We got G now, haven't we? G. You're probably going to disagree on this one, James. You're probably going to rank yours higher, but Jurassic World Evolution, mate.
I don't even have it on my list, to be fair, but it's a very good game. Very good game.
Now, the thing
2018,
is,
I think that came out.
Yeah. I mean, I was very surprised by this. I mean, started playing it, and I could not put this fucking down. I was literally meant to go to bed at 12. I think I stayed on till about 3 o'clock in the morning.
And you're the player that can barely even get on a game, so it's quite impressive.
I know. But no, it's not that.
You were trying to record Star Wars. That's why our Star Wars video was late, because you kept going on Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Yes, because that's actually better. I had a choice to play a shit game or a good game. Now I kept going with the good game, obviously. I mean, you know, for what it was, I mean, the only downside of this game that I wished it had put in, I really do wish they'd put in water dinosaurs and a water park section. Also with any flying sort of dinosaurs as well would have been.
For me, Jeff Goldblum, every 5 minutes, him stepping in with his
voice,
next speech, he was awesome. Yeah,
I mean, it's good. I mean, it is a game though that you can miss things. Obviously, you do have to really pay attention to what's going on, because if you miss anything that's said, it doesn't repeat itself. There's no.
I also like how it's one of those games where if you're playing and you talk to your friends, you'll find out, you'll learn tips. Yeah, and I like those games where it's a community-based game where, like, you know, you talk to this person, you talk to that person, you realize what's working for them and what's not working.
Well,
it's a shame that didn't review on this one, to be fair.
The likes of when, you know, people used to game before we had the access to Google and all that. You know, the way you found secrets, the way you found to beat hard bosses is by speaking to your friends, by speaking to people who've done it, not by going on the internet and watching people do it.
They were the better days.
Totally. I agree.
Right.
So are we agreeing with that's on G then?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I didn't get into it as much. I did enjoy it, but I didn't play it as much.
Well, I mean, I've got my brother and my stepfather who are playing it as well.
My wife was playing it. My stepson was playing it. My nephew's playing it.
It's actually quite underrated, this game, to be totally honest. I don't think people realise how.
I think that it came out at quite a high budget game, which is what put people off.
Yeah, it was about 60. Was it about 60 quid when it first came out?
Yeah, I mean, it was a AAA rated game. It was very expensive, but now it's been out a couple more years.
Well, the fact we got it all on Xbox Gold for free.
Yeah, which was amazing, to be fair. Probably the best game they've ever put on.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, definitely the best game they've ever put on Xbox Live Gold, for sure.
Definitely.
So what we got next then?
Right, so we are G for Gavin, and my G is Horizon Zero Dawn. Now,
I'm going to disagree with that one.
This, to me, is...
I never played it.
Yeah, it's a PlayStation game, PlayStation only at the moment. I don't know if I read it right, but I think they are...
It's going on to PC.
Yeah.
Well, James still won't be able to play it.
Graphically, it was bloody beautiful. Now, I would have loved to have played it in 4K. I didn't get to actually play it in 4K.
Yes, I did. I did.
Shut your face.
And that's why mine's higher. Well, I've put it as a C, so I'm just going to say that now. Yeah. I put it as a C, mate. That's how high up I've put it, because I think that is a very fucking good game.
It was.
I'm still 22 hours into it, and it's one of those games. I'm not bored. No. I'm nowhere near getting bored of it at all.
Don't get bored of it. It is fantastic.
No, you don't.
The only reason I didn't complete it is I borrowed it to my missus's friend.
You lent it?
Yeah, shut your face. I lent it to someone, and I still haven't had it back, and that was about 2 years ago.
You could borrow it off me.
No. They're still playing it, that's why.
I've got a PlayStation now.
Well, I've got a PlayStation.
I'm coming to borrow your PlayStation.
That's fine. You can borrow the PlayStation. It's fine. Build
Yeah.
PC. You can borrow the
Gotta start
PlayStation. It's fine.
afresh.
You can play. You
Oh,
can
oh,
play
wait,
Okay,
Zero
it's
so
not
Dawn.
PC.
Play Horizon Zero Dawn again.
Yeah.
So
my
you're
next
putting
game.
you're putting that as G though. I disagree on that one.
On the
I'd like to put that higher.
You see, it depends
Well,
on your
it's
list,
his
though.
choice.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
I
I'm
suppose
putting
So my
mine
next
will be
game
higher.
Yeah. So
is
F
Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, for me, the single player. Now, it would be higher on my list, right? Hear me out first. So the single
just go.
player has to be the best RPG I've ever played. The game is absolutely fucking beautiful. It's a great thought out story. Really get immersed in his story and what he goes through. We waited, I can't remember how many months we waited. I think we waited a couple of months, maybe 3 months
More
for
than
the
a couple
online
of
that came
months.
out.
I
Obviously, we was
think
all
it's-
really, really excited for the online to come out.
Yeah.
And it come out with no content whatsoever. So it would be higher rated, but the online story let it down massively. Now, of course, the only gripe I really got to say about the single player was the controls were a little bit clunky. But I really felt like a cowboy when I played that game. I would have liked to have
Yeah,
robbed
no,
more
see,
banks, but
see, I
you know,
got
it
bored.
was.
I got bored of that game. Bored of traveling from
You
one
did,
destination
but
to another.
I was really surprised you got bored. In fact, I've got another mate who got bored as well. But his brother completed the game as much as me and Gavin did. In fact, I think Gavin
Yeah.
actually spent more time in it than I did.
Yeah,
At least
I
single
haven't actually
player
tried
wise.
to 100% it. The only reason I haven't is
Yeah.
because of the gambling challenges, and because one, I'm abysmal at gambling, so I just can't do the gambling challenges.
Do you want to
So,
have a go
I
again,
just
Gavin?
love how much there was to that game as well. You know, there wasn't just a little bit in that game. There was a lot to it.
oh yeah, it was. I agree with you fully. The story mode was absolutely fantastic. Now, obviously,
See, I'll agree on most of the points you're making as well, but as I said, I just got bored. I just got bored of it. I don't know
Well,
why.
they're still adding to the online mode, so hopefully, you know, we'll
Well, I
get
mean, now
more
you've
reasons
got
to go back in.
the what's just been added recently?
I think you can buy properties now.
Yeah, but you've got to do something else first as well. You can't actually just go into it. You need to get ranked up on certain things.
I need to get ranked up. I haven't played it since release, and since pretty much. I haven't played it so much that Gavin's actually better combat.
yes,
Yeah.
so that's
They've changed the mechanics of it though, as you said, though, didn't
They
they?
did, yeah.
So,
Okay, Marty, what's your next game, dude?
what are we on now? We're on F now, aren't we?
where's F?
Outlast.
Outlast.
Now,
Outlast.
have you played that, James?
Yeah, I played about an hour or two. I definitely didn't complete it. I didn't really know what I was doing. I've got to say that one of the bits I liked, I was going through a corridor and the game prompted. It said, "You can press this button to look behind you when you're running." I was like, "No,
Yeah.
thank you. I don't want to."
Yes, I don't think I ever used that ability once when I was playing that game. I mean, I rushed through that game in about 10 hours. I didn't fucking hang about too much. I liked it that much. I went and got the DLC for it as well, which was even better as well. The fucking add-on story that they had for it was brilliant as well. But for a horror survival game, it was just absolutely brilliant. It did exactly what it was meant to do, which was get your fucking heart racing, get you absolutely paranoid as fuck, and yeah, just it did a brilliant job of it. The storyline was really good as well. It was a really, really good story. But I mean, I like the fact that you couldn't actually do anything as well. All you had, what were the options? Run, hide, or die, and that was it.
Yes.
Those are your only options to do. But we
Run,
still
hide,
need to
then die.
record. Well, we still need to record Gavin on this because the last time he played it, he spent most of his time in the cupboard, and I had to prompt him to get out of the cupboard because he's not going to complete the game if he just sits there.
I don't do scary games. You know, obviously we are.
You're going to do this one.
Yeah, we are bringing out the.
We will set it up, mate. We're probably going to have to do it around here, or I don't know what we're going to do, but I will be getting a smartwatch. Well, I will be getting a smartwatch, so there's your heartbeat monitor sorted.
Yeah.
I will be getting one of us.
We'll call it. Can we make Jack? Can we make Jack? I reckon I'm looking at the dog. Can we make Gavin do it myself? And you're probably making me play shit scary games. Will probably make me shit myself. This should be fun.
Well, most people I know who've played this say the same thing. It is utterly terrifying.
Yeah.
And it is just brilliant. There is some twisted fucking shit in it. The second one that they brought out, I don't know how they brought out because there's some really bad shit in it that probably shouldn't be in games at all. And I'm not even going to mention it because I don't want to. But yeah, there's horrific shit in this game. So I mean, if you like horrors and stuff, that is the fucking game to play. That's for sure.
That's
So
the
there's
thing,
my
though.
F.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat. It keeps you interested, and also shitting yourself.
Well, I told my partner not to fucking, even come upstairs when I was playing that game. If she wanted to speak to me, she needed to ring my phone.
Ring you first.
As I said to her, I was like, I'm going to be having this on full blast with my headphones on. If you stand behind me, I'm going to have a heart attack if I don't know you're there. It's just like, fucking hell. But yeah, very good game.
So on to my F, and my F also is Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, what we just said is exactly the same. The story is fantastic. The online, it was abysmal. I've not played it since they put any new stuff into it, so I don't know what it's like now. But I know
it's been one of those games that it's been hard to pick up now because it's now in the point of time where other people have been playing it for so long.
I'd play the single player again. I would play the single player again.
The online I'm talking about. Like, if you jump back into the online now, you've got other people who've been playing it since day one. They'll obviously be a massive higher level than you. It's just going to be a pain.
You see, the thing is, though, the guns don't get that much better, dude. The guns don't get that much better. So I've got no problem playing level 100 players. I'd quite happily jump in with a fight with them. And grief them, because that's all I'd done when it first came out. Anyway, was grief the whole map. So
yeah,
I'd
well,
quite
we
happily
did, but then they changed the mechanics, and this is where it's got a bit difficult now as well.
It's got much more. I mean,
but...
put it up on the.
So my next game is Fallout New Vegas. Now, Fallout series doesn't really need to be introduced. It's Fallout, but this was a different developer. I believe it was Obsidian, and they've done a bloody good job. Now, this game really, really got me into it. I was a bit put off from Fallout 3. Graphics wise, it was a bit clunky.
Really?
Honestly, I played Fallout New Vegas, then went back to Fallout 3 because of it. It was Fallout New Vegas that actually got me into the franchise.
To be fair, I loved Fallout 3, to be totally honest.
No, I did too, don't get me wrong. Fallout 3 would be fucking number one on my list, if I'm honest. The whole Megaton, the decisions, the Fallout series, the decisions that they give you in that game are so vast, and it has such a replay value because you want to go back and find out, what would have happened if I'd done this, or what would happen if I do that. And for me, Fallout New Vegas, I would spend hours just in my little casino, just arranging my guns and my loot. I was that kind of sad person. I'd get every single rifle in the game and just pile them up on the snooker table. I thought that game was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, exactly.
Small things, small minds.
Obviously, with the Fallout series, I enjoyed the Fallout series. Now, I haven't played from Vegas. I played it slightly. I had it on the PC, but I've not played it since then. But I did play Fallout 4, so I did enjoy Fallout 4, but obviously it didn't make it to the list.
Yeah, Fallout 4 was a good game. It didn't make my list, but for me, these other games are just slightly edging it in different areas, and Fallout Vegas was better than Fallout 4 in my opinion.
Yeah, and then the controversy of Fallout 76, but we won't gloss over that.
We will not go.
There.
No, we'll gloss over that one. We'll go straight past that. And
God in my
we'll do that on another video.
Yeah, separate video for 2-hour dedication to that game. Sorry, what are we on now?
We are
fucking
on E.
confused. E. Oh, Spider-Man. Now, again, you two have not played this. It is on the PlayStation 4 and only on the PlayStation 4. It was the only reason I went and bought a PlayStation 4 was because of that game. I went round to my mates to play it on release, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Graphics are brilliant, gameplay brilliant, story brilliant, really good. I like the fact how the way they've ended it and going to bring out and number 2, hopefully with a co-op version, which will be, I think, the first Spider-Man that will be coming out with a co-op version, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I was going to say I've never played a Spider-Man game that was co-op.
Yeah, I know. So if they make this one a co-op, this will be absolutely brilliant. I mean, I couldn't fault the game in any way, shape, or form. I mean,
The only way I could see if they did that is if they had Spider-Man working with Shield, and then you could have a Shield agent, or you could have all these little buddies.
No, because the way the game ended. Spoiler alert! I'll just say it now. The way the game ended was Miles became he got bitten by a spider and became one of another Spider-Man. So
okay.
It's sort of in a sort of in the Spider-Verse sort of section. That's the way they sort of done it a little bit, which was interesting because it just ended with both of them sticking to the ceiling, which was epically great.
That could be cool.
But it was a game that again, once you started playing it, you couldn't put it down. It was just carry on, and it was a very decent game.
I haven't played it, but I've actually watched you play it.
And it was very good in 4K as well.
Yeah.
Not in 4K, it was shit. It was very shit non-4K.
That's seeing it from a 4K first perspective. Then. Obviously, from seeing it from a 1080p perspective, you might be different.
Well, I saw it from a 4K perspective straight away on a 65-inch screen, mate. And I was just like, wow, this is fucking brilliant. It's I love everything you could do on it. There was nothing I could actually fault about the game, to be totally honest. So, and it's one of those games that you're quite willing and wanting to 100% it, complete it by 100%. Which...
So what you got for us, Gavin?
So, on to my E, and we have Tom Clancy's Wildlands.
It didn't make my list, you know.
No, it didn't make my list.
It's a good game.
It didn't make my list either, actually.
It made mine for the simple fact that I put so many hours into it. I really didn't. Now, obviously,
I can't think why I didn't put it on the list.
I can't disagree with you, dude. It is a good game. It was one of those games that had us all playing for 100 hours each, probably.
Roughly, yeah, I'd say.
You two, yeah. Me, not so much. Again,
No, but you were there with us. I mean, you didn't complete the game. Even now, you haven't completed the game, to be fair, but you put in a hell of a lot of time.
Nope.
In fact, my first ever YouTube video was on Wildlands. Yeah, on my personal account rather than in Critically Curious. But yeah, I did love that game.
That was a game that you could definitely play on your own.
Yes.
And that was a game that you could really thoroughly enjoy.
It was a bit boring on your own, to be fair. It was the co-op side of it that really got going for it. I mean,
what was boring about it being on your own
as well? But
what was boring about being on your own? I mean, what sort of?
For me, it was too easy on your own. It was too easy on your own. It was whenever you got co-op and you had to actually communicate with each other, work together as a team. That I personally enjoyed a lot more than doing it with.
I will say that game could have been harder because it seems like the difficulty settings didn't actually do much.
Yeah, I mean, your AI was pretty much laser point. If you told them to shoot someone, they'd never miss. When the fuck did they ever miss? They always got it spot on, you know.
Yeah, they did. That's true.
Yeah, and the drones. For me, it was just too easy on your own. But it's the game coming to a life on its own. It really.
Oh, we did quite a few things on that, didn't we?
We done a lot.
We played quite a few hours together on that. We did enjoy it.
We didn't do any recordings on it, did we? Properly?
No, this was before the channel did.
Yeah.
No, but we wanted to see how long it'd take to run across the map. We did all that, didn't we?
There was loads of things we done with the longest shot as well, the longest sniper shot that we done. We done a few just to play in the game. You know, it was a really good open world game. It was a massive map.
Can you remember?
I'd say it's. Oh no.
That we done? I think you guys done like 1,1500.
14.
No, it was more than that.
52, I think that was the highest, and that was mine, if I remember.
Mine was just under a mile.
Yeah. It was difficult. Wasn't it? It was really difficult because you couldn't even aim at the second screen. I mean, if you were up
the bullet drop was insane.
Yeah, you had to account for the bullet drop, and if you didn't know whereabouts that would be from that distance, and you kind of got to fuck it up because as soon as they see the shot or hear the. Well, I say see the shot. They'll hear the shot, then they hear it landing, missing them. Then they panic, don't they, and run behind fucking cover.
See, the next game on my list, I'm not
Good.
sure if either of you played it. It would be Dragon Age Inquisition.
I played a little bit of it, but again, this was a time where I struggled to have the time to play games. So it was again.
See, I've completed that game twice, and I've spent about 70 hours each playthrough. It blew me away. You know, it really is a top game. There was a lot of good side quests as well, not just fetch quests. I mean, there was fetch quests, of course, but there was a lot of good side quests in that
sort of game, wasn't it?
Yeah. It probably had me. You know, the customer characterization, the choices that you made, the recruitment. I loved the recruitment side of it, building your castle up, building your army up. But you know, becoming the Inquisition and really ruling your empire. You know. Little Kingdom. I really enjoyed that game. It was a top game, and the dragons were a bonus as well. There was lots of a bonus. In fact, I played through every DLC.
You couldn't ride them though, could you? You couldn't fly them, or could you?
No. I don't think you could fly them. You could fight them. There was quite a few to fight, and they were difficult as well. Even once you'd completed the game, it was a difficult.
I just want to jump onto a dragon, fly away, burn people.
Go to Skyrim. You can jump on dragon. I don't know if you can. What's the name? Fly down.
No, but you can do it. No, but you can do it on Ark. You can ride a dragon. So
yes.
It's fine. What
Got in my wish next, dude.
We are now on D for you, Cal.
D for me. D. All right, Batman, Arkham Knight. Again, I don't know if you two have played it.
I have played it. I didn't get into it.
Really?
I have gripe with that game.
A lot of people do, because the console version apparently was decent enough for people to enjoy and things like that, and then they ported it over to PC and it was abysmal.
And I remember hearing about that.
Abysmal. People were returning it and everything, and because it was literally just a console port and it didn't run well.
Yeah, that game for me was just too easy. I understand why you had it on your list, but
I mean, I had it on my list just purely because of the storyline. Again, I mean, any sort of Batman-based story, they always fully go for it and go into it, and it was really interesting.
Batman thing as well, so you might enjoy that.
Yeah, that is another game that I've nearly 100%ed, apart from the Riddler's trophies, because I'm struggling to fucking find them all. But yeah, no doubt I wanted to complete every single fucking thing on that game, because it just adds more to the story and you find out more things, and it was just absolutely, for me, an epic game, an epic single player game for story based side of it anyway. Probably not for the combat side. I would agree on you that the combat was definitely too easy. But
that's why none of the Assassin's Creed made it on my list as well.
No, I know.
And those games were always too easy, too same-ish. I mean, there were one or two games that stood out for me, but
you've got to make games like that. I mean, how can you do it though? How can you change the mechanics so much that it's going to be harder without messing with the game too much?
Well, they did it. Worse? They did it, dude. The latest Assassin's Creed. It's no longer spam.
No, it's
counter,
not.
Is it?
No, it's not. It's very different to what it was a long time ago.
And they needed it to be. It's worked because they changed it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll be able to do some sort of thing with it later on and make another one where the combat situation has changed a little bit, made it a little bit harder. But for me, no, graphical wise and gameplay and story, just flawless for me. So that's why it went on D.
My D actually, that's rude. My D is actually The Last of Us, which is a
never played it.
Exclusive.
I've got it. I still haven't played it.
I watched my wife play that game, and she thoroughly. In fact, it was one of the first games that she completed on the new gen consoles. Yeah. She thoroughly enjoyed it.
She really enjoyed it. It was absolutely fantastic. The storyline to it was absolutely fantastic. It literally had you gripped from the get-go. Obviously, without telling too many spoilers, the first couple of, I think it's the first half an hour that you play it,
The suspense in it was quite good too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it had a few jumpy moments. The action, the gameplay, the gun mechanics. It was all pretty good. It was a good looking game as well.
It wasn't your typical run and gun freaking zombie game, was it? It was
For its time,
oh yeah,
it definitely was ahead of the curve.
oh yeah. Because you have to think about everything. You literally have to think about everything. You've not got
Yeah.
your limited supply of bullets. Your limited supply on everything. So
Yeah, there was a good amount of rummaging around trying to find extra gear and stuff like that.
definitely.
I've got nothing to say about the game because I haven't played it, so I'm sorry.
You need to.
That's fine, dude. Yeah, ultimately, it was just a good game. I think it deserves to be where it was. I mean, a lot of people would say it should be probably the game of the decade, to be fair. So, yeah, they're coming in a good rank.
Yeah.
Now, for me, again, you two aren't going to have anything to say because, one, you've never played the game, and two, you guys don't like the genre. But for me, XCOM 2. Now, the latest DLC for that game, I believe it's called the Chosen Wars or the Chosen One. That game it went right back to these games of 10 years old. The amount of mechanics at play in the game were awesome. Now it's a tactics shooting game. You control your squad and you put them out. You plan the moves. It's turn based. But it was really good. You had this enemy that would keep coming into your world, and you'd have battles with them. You'd kill him, or you'd try to kill him. He'd always run off, the little shit. But he'd learn from how you defeated him. So if you defeated him with a melee weapon, he'd all of a sudden become buffed against melee. Or if you killed him with sniper rifles, he'd become an expert fucking sniper shot.
Well, again, that's good. That's a good thing that they've actually. I didn't know they could actually do that with the AI within games, but it's interesting that they have done it with two games that you've already mentioned. This is the second.
Yeah, it was.
But
it also, I mean, they had other mechanics in where let's say because you could make your squad. Let's say we had me, Marty, and Gavin. We all jumped into a game. Marty would play in our squad regularly together. We'd create a bond, and oh my god, all of a sudden Marty got shot in the head, and then Monk would go around shooting his own squad mates because he would be completely, distraught over losing his bromance. Little things in the game, really put that game ahead, in my opinion.
It's a shame there wasn't a multiplayer though.
It is multiplayer.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. You guys hadn't played that game before, but yeah, no, it is multiplayer.
I don't tend to sit.
Couldn't you make your characters on that, or am I thinking again of something else? Then
you could completely customize your characters as well. Yeah.
So if you wanted to play offline, you could, you could make your characters whoever.
It was quite interesting. So you recruit characters in that game. So you could, before even going into a world, you create all your characters up, all the people, your dream list of people that you'd want. Like fucking John Wick, or whatever. All these, Neo, and all that sort of players, and you could meet them happen by chance, roll of a dice in your game, and they come in exactly made to whatever you made. Yeah, it was a really top game. Really deeply enjoyed it. Spent many hours. Quite happily play again. And I think there's an XCOM 3 coming out. I don't think it's coming out this year, but apparently there is one in development.
Okay. Well, so Calvin, you're on to your C.
C. Well, we've already discussed it. Horizon Zero Dawn, mate.
You got it fair than I did.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just for me. I couldn't put the game down. It's such a good game. Graphics-wise, brilliant. Colors are fucking vibrant as hell. Like, I mean, storyline's just brilliant. It just never gets boring. Every time you finish a section of the game and go on to a new section, it's just instant. You're drawn into it straight away.
Yeah. And
it just never stops. So that's why I put it a quite high list on mine anyway, higher than you did.
Well, yeah. I mean, I haven't played it in a while, so if I'd played it a lot longer than I did, I probably would have put it much higher on my list. But I literally only played about 30 hours of it total.
I've only played 22, so
yeah,
you've played more than me, like, but.
Yeah. I get to play more games than most people because
it's so funny you guys talking about hours played. You should wait for my next game.
Well, that's my
well, that's where my C is anyway. So I'll let you go on your one because we've already discussed that. So
go on then, Gavin. What's yours?
So my C is something that we've all played and we've all thoroughly enjoyed, and it's Human Fall Flat. It's
You
not.
put that on your
Really?
really, you
What
put that
the
on-
fuck,
you
Gavin?
put that on
This
your-
is a serious list.
This is a serious game, man. You,
You've put in
the
that.
name of the game is two complete
Oh
puzzles
my
with the help.
god.
But you can do it by yourself, or you can do it with your friends. Now, if you do it with your friends, like my friends, like James and Marty, it's kind of difficult. It makes the game go from being a difficult game sometimes to being a difficult game all the time. Even just walking
Dude,
over a
if
bridge.
this is, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you there. If this is your, if this is your C, you need to go back and do a better review because I've watched your review on this game, and you have no energy and no charisma about this game. So I'm telling you, you need to go back and make a better review.
No, it was.
Yeah, you-
I can honestly say we could put hours into it, even doing levels over and over again. We.
I think this should be on a different list, really, because at the end of the day, if with what you're talking about more fun.
Enjoyable.
Yes.
No.
enjoyability-
A
no,
good game
enjoyability,
is
yes.
fun.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If you don't enjoy the game, it's not a good game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but you've got to have other mechanics in it as well. But
Both
I mean,
my kids have played this game, so I'll defend it a little bit. Both my kids played this game, and they really
it's not-
enjoy
it's-
it.
it-
I've had
no,
fun
there's no
playing with my
storyline to
kids.
it, is it?
That's the thing,
It's a puzzle game, if
Yeah.
anything. That's what it is.
Does a game need to have a story? No. Does a
Yes.
game need to be fun? Yes. It's quite
Yes.
simple. No,
Yeah,
you're
that's the
wrong.
thing,
It doesn't
yeah,
have to have a story, dude.
It doesn't.
It doesn't have to have a
really-
story at all. It needs to be fun. And I could admit, Gavin's right. We've all had fun playing this game. We all know someone who's had fun playing this game.
Yeah.
For the price of what it was,
Yes.
I can fully defend Gavin here.
Yeah.
It's worth it. It's worth playing.
It was
I still don't think it should be its fucking C on your list.
No, I do not believe it should be C either. But I don't even think it should be on the list.
On the list,
But
same, yeah, I'll be on
it's
that
a
one
good
as well.
game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So,
Right.
Okay, so
B.
my
After that
B. My B. Now, the reason I laughed a minute ago is because you guys are saying you've played 20 hours in a game, you've played 30 hours in a game. So the next on my list is Ark Survival.
Yeah. Well,
Now, I have played
let's-
hundreds upon hundreds of hours in that game.
Let's find out who introduced you to it.
Yeah, the funny thing is that you both introduced me to this game. In fact, you were both begging me to play this game for months, and I refused. I said, no, you guys are way too ahead of me. I am not playing this game. I finally
Yes,
pick it up and
then what
absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
And
so
I
then what
spent
happened?
about a month or 2 months worth of actual game time in the game.
Mm.
It destroyed my life. No, it didn't really, but no, it was. And the funny thing is that you guys had played this game a lot, and you thought you knew the game, and I can tell you now that you guys are a bunch of fucking beach bobs.
Yeah.
You do not know that game the way I know the game.
No, you went to a different level completely.
But it's a very, very good game, and it
It's a
definitely
very
deserves to be
in-depth.
on the list.
It's a very in-depth game. Very.
If you choose for it to be an
lot of-
in-depth game, it
yeah,
can
but
be,
it's-
yeah.
There's a lot of grinding to do. Pretty much anything on that game.
Yeah, I mean,
you've
even
gotta
just
grind out a
taming
lot of
the
stuff.
dinosaurs was,
The way I played the game, yeah, because I played officially, I played legitimately, and so I played official PvP, and so you had to be
We'll say
amongst
now,
a
though,
good crew, a good tribe. Sorry,
people know what they're doing.
keep your base running.
but we'll say now that the game now, at its current status, is not very good online, is it?
Official, no. Official people don't play properly. They just
No.
undermap and
So
do
basically,
everything.
explain that to Gavin a little bit. They're going under the map basically to fucking. Get
Well, they go
into
under the
base.
mesh. Literally, you make a base up, which is pretty much unraidable, or at least you put up a good fight,
Good fun.
and they will literally go underneath the mesh and blow up all your turrets from inside your base without them ever being detected.
Yeah, because the turrets won't be able to see through the game.
The only way to counter that is to mesh yourself and to put turrets underneath the map.
Yeah.
Which of course you can get banned for, and your whole map be dev wiped.
So
it
that's
sucks.
the thing. So why why are you getting banned for doing something that's ultimately going to stop other people from cheating?
I know.
It's
Because that's a
The
stupid.
devs
thing.
have
You're not-
always been.
You're not cheating. You're not
Wildcard
actually
has always
cheating.
been
You're
bad
not
in
doing
that game.
something. Yeah, but you're not doing something that's going to ultimately fully benefit you in a sense. Well, it is benefiting you. It's stopping other cheaters cheating them and fucking destroying your base. but it should be a fair fight at the end of the day. I'm getting sick of games where people.
It's why I would never go back to the game. The only way I'd go back to the game, and for the life of me, I can't bring myself to not play it PvP official. Something about that game of PvP official really I loved the competitiveness in that game.
Yeah.
I loved the risk of losing everything.
I couldn't
but
deal with the risk.
I couldn't play that game unless it was wiped again.
No, I didn't like the fact that you could potentially lose everything that you create.
No, but you like I said from the beginning, you guys were very casual on that game. Although you liked the game, you spent a lot of time. I think it was the building.
This is the
thing,
though. The difference between me and Gavin is, we like to build things. We like to build the maps, and
you guys need to go back to that game because they've added a lot to that game.
Oh yeah, I know. We will go back to it. We've got another video to do on that one as well, haven't we? Later on. So.
Yes.
But
yeah. Go on then. What's your next one? Your B, Calvin.
B. Where's B? Oh, Apex Legends. Now,
nice.
I'll be totally honest. I didn't want to play this game. It was you, James, that kept pushing me to fucking go on it, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, you see, that game was built for us in the sense that we are a 3-squad game. Even at Wildlands, we could have used that fourth that we never had. This was the first game that I can think of that came in. It was like 3 players.
Yeah.
I had a couple of mates, and we
credit for what it actually should have, because it is a very good game. It is a very good shooter game. The mechanics.
It's different, isn't it? It's very different from PUBG, and it's very different from.
You've got a lot of things that you've got to pay attention to. Someone was sort of describing it to me the other day by going, it's pretty much Call of Duty on steads in the sense of fast pace. And I went, yeah, it kind of is, but in the same point, you still have to play as a team. You cannot play solo on that game. You try and play solo on that game, you're going to get murked straight away.
Yeah.
Because, you might get a drop on the first or the second person, but you won't on the third. This is damn, unless you're fucking that good and that shit as well. That's another thing, actually, to be fair.
There are players at that game that are so good, it's crazy. I don't consider myself a good player at that game, and I've played at least 100 hours.
I will get better.
I've played at least 100 hours.
This is the thing. I am good at shooter games, first-person shooter games, but I tend not to play them because I don't like the competitive side. I don't like getting into that mode because I become a dickhead, basically. So I try and refuse to play it, but I'm actually now playing 2 games that are very competitive, which is Apex.
Well, we've got a lot more videos to come of that game, so good choice. I support that game. To be fair, another point should be made about that game, though. I played PUBG on release. Now, that game cost me 20 quid. Today, that game is still fucking broken. It still looks horrendous. There is still a lot of lag issues.
It's free.
Apex Legends was free, and that game worked.
Yeah,
worked on release. Can you believe that? Yeah. On release.
It doesn't happen very often anymore, does it?
No, I do not mind them. That game for me is what fucking skins are all about. Is what loot boxes are all about. Yeah. It's allowed those things because the game itself is fucking free. The only way it makes money is from releasing these skins.
Yeah. I know.
I've got no problem with that. That is what loot boxes are supposed to come out for.
Microtransactions on that game should definitely be allowed. Any game that's free, I have no qualm with it at all. There's no problems. If they want to do that, that's fine. They've got to make money somehow.
Yeah.
Where you've got a game that's come out though, and you've spent 60 or 50 or however much you spent. If you pay.
So again, defending Respawn completely. Respawn made that game. Respawn also made the Star Wars game that you played and reviewed. And again, that game was done correctly in the sense that there's no multiplayer. There are no loot boxes. There's no fucking, or there's very little microtransactions that I know of at all.
No, I don't
exactly. That again was done correctly. Now, you may have had your gripes of that game, but a single player RPG in this day and age was done correctly, which I liked. And again, with Apex Legends, it's a multiplayer game.
In the sense of not having microtransactions, yes. In the sense of
that's a massive thing these days. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a massive thing. But in this day and age, it is.
No, but it seems like the gaming industry took a turn for the worst a long time ago, and it's for some reason it's only just starting to sort of realise or people are now sort of going, we're fucking sick to death of microtransactions. We're not
Yeah.
doing it.
Well,
It's... You're going to have to build a game from scratch and make it good and release it. You can't keep releasing half of it and then releasing the DLC as the fucking rest of the storyline. It's cheeky as fuck, really, to be totally honest. It is like really
Gavin,
getting a movie that's half made and paying for half the film and then getting the other half later on.
Yeah, but it's been given these days for a while, isn't it?
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, a lot of countries are trying to stop the likes of loot crates and things like that. And yeah, for the simple fact it's part of gambling. You know, there's people who.
It is. I fully agree.
It is a gamble.
But
it is,
that's a massive. I have a massive issue with it, especially when it comes to. I mean, is it Fortnite? It's called Fortnite, isn't it? Yeah, Fortnite is this day and age aimed towards children. I say that. Now it is aimed at kids now, and it shouldn't have the amount of loot boxes. You know, these mums and dads, they don't know parental settings. They shouldn't be allowed to rack up 100 quid's worth of bloody skins. You know, on a game that they thought was free anyway, because the battle royale mode is free.
It's free.
You know,
well, you can still play it free.
You can still play it free, of course. It's, you know, it's one of the things, but you're not at a disadvantage. But obviously, we're in a day and age where obviously appearance is key with a lot of things, especially kids.
No, again, I just want to clear up the fact that, you know, we're saying Fortnite's bad and Apex is good, and they're doing roughly the same thing. Now, the reason I feel that Fortnite are bad is because it is massively marketed towards children.
Where,
you know, Apex isn't. It you know, kids may play it, they may not play it, but it's not marketed towards kids.
Exactly.
You know, I think Fortnite have got a lot to make up for when it comes to that. Especially as originally they were targeting PUBG players. There's a lot of guys, a lot of people our age playing Fortnite still.
Yes. So what are we on next?
We are still on B. We're on my B. The issue is you guys are not gonna like what my B is.
We didn't like what your C was.
We didn't like what your C was, right? So this isn't going to be good from now on, is it? I'm pretty sure that A and, well, I know what triple S is because we fucked up that point at the beginning. But if B and A are stupid games, I'm warning you, I will slap you.
You're upstairs as well, so that's not fun.
I know.
Right, so my B is No Man's Sky. Now, not the original No Man's Sky from when it first came out.
I liked it. I played it.
Okay, I'm not going to actually say that was bad. That's a lot better choice of fucking the last one.
I enjoyed human. Leave me alone with my choices. Right. So the reason it's number 3 or B to me is obviously it was a fantastic game. I've not played it for a while since they put some new things in.
You haven't played it since last time I played. Yeah. I brought you back in and playing it with Calvin.
They put generators and things like some wires and something like that. I can't remember what it was, to be honest. I've not actually picked it up to have a look. But from just after when they done the Beyond update, that was fantastic. I mean, it was really good. I spent a few hours when it first came, not when it first came out, sorry, when I got it on the PS4 a few years back, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't fantastic. It didn't keep me engrossed.
There wasn't enough content in it from what it was being pronounced as before. Well, before it was being marked as.
But what we have today is very good. There's a lot of content.
It's a lot better now for sure. I mean, the one good thing about the game is you can talk to anyone else, and there'll be for a fact that they'll never do the same gameplay that you're going to do. The same sort of like. The same planets and stuff like that. You're just not going to be doing that.
Isn't it? It's
yeah, I mean, I played for many hours in that game, and the only players that I ever ran into that weren't you two, I ran into one other player. Entire time I played that game.
It's fucking never won.
I was surprised to even see him. You know, I was very surprised.
No, actually, no, saying that, no, I did run into one. I saw him on the map, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go on and say hello.
But I did enjoy that game. Yeah, it was a good game.
Which was about.
I must have played for about 50 hours or so.
The Xbox release though.
And again, I actually made one of my very first ever YouTube videos on it.
On the game.
Yeah, I mean,
on duping money, I believe it was, and nanites.
Cheat. If it was easy enough, might as well.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay,
going to
so
disagree.
my A is Skyrim. Now, I don't know if you guys ever played that game.
No,
Single
never played
player
it.
RPG, open world.
I know a
The
lot of
funny
people did
thing
though.
is when it got remastered, you got a hell of a lot more mods in it. You got a hell of a lot more playtime. Now, I played that game in its original form on the Xbox 360, and I played that game when it was remastered, and we could have mods as well. The funny thing is, I've played 200 hours, mate. I've never completed a damn thing, ever. Because there's so much else you can do. You don't have to do the main story. There's just so much more you can do in that game.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? There's the amount of side content is massive. I mean, I played Skyrim myself on the 360 as well as the is it the classic definitive edition or something, or uh,
The remastered
the
edition.
I'm saying like remastered, the remastered edition. I mean, it was such a fun game to pick up and play. Even the PC version to it, the amount of mods and things like that you can put into it, you can still have hours and hours of fun now with it. And like the guy who created it said, he didn't realize it was going to be that much of a success, and it has been. It's been absolutely fantastic. There's people still buying it now. It
Yeah,
is
that's the thing. It's been
fantastic.
going for 10 years now, and there's still players that are buying it, downloading, and thoroughly enjoying it. It's one of those games that live on for another 10 years.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's going to have a lifespan.
No,
Like
it's
most
gonna be
games.
like oh god. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. How's World of Warcraft still doing?
World of Warcraft.
Oh, I think they've got another World of
I'd say
Warcraft
that's still
3.
going up. That's still going strong though, isn't it? I suppose in the PC community. I suppose I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of a game that's quite
Single
old.
player wise, though, it's it is one of the best single player games ever. They've done a bloody good job with that game.
It is fantastic.
The level of detail in that game.
We're on A now.
We are on A. You're A, sir.
You're A.
You're A, sir.
You're not going to like this, James. Assassin's Creed.
What?
Black Flag.
Dude, I played 100 hours of that game. I can't say it's not a bad game.
Okay, good.
I mean, I can't say it doesn't even deserve to be where it was. I played 100 hours at least in that game.
I mean,
all these games I probably have.
The biggest thing for me on that game was the fact that I was being made, not being made to play it, but being asked to play it by my partner, who does not play games, does not like games, but thoroughly fucking enjoyed the story on this game and wanted to see what was going to happen on it. And that's why it's high on my list. That storyline can draw on a person who doesn't play games at all, doesn't want to. Then I think that fucking deserves a fucking high one, to be totally honest. But that was a very good storyline. It was probably in the Assassin's Creed worlds. I would still rate that as the best out of all of them.
Second best for me. The last game.
I know you two are going to say Odyssey. I know you two are going to say Odyssey now. To be fair,
but at the same time, that game for me, the story mode, the story itself in that game didn't grab me. The concept, being a pirate, going around doing my pirate things, that is what had me in that game. I loved it, and I'm pretty sure it was the first game on this console, this generation, to have that that secondary type of game mechanic where you could manage your fleet. There was like a mini game, pretty in-depth mini game inside that. You capture your ships and they'd become in your fleet. You couldn't use them, which sucked. You use them in the
breaking up a little bit again.
Yeah, you cut out there, mate.
Well, I know what I said. That's all about the other people.
The other people don't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're recording for everyone to listen to this and hear what we're saying.
What I was saying was that
as long as you know what you said, that's fine.
The mini game in Black Flag, I think, was really good. It was one of the first of this generation to have that kind of a mini game within their game. Don't get me wrong, other games have mini games, but this was the first in this generation to do it in the way that they did.
Yeah, that was good. It was actually a very good thing on that one.
When you say this generation, what do you mean? Do you mean like this generation of consoles?
This generation of console.
Right. Okay. Because I was going to say,
Not
Dude,
this
I'm only
generation of
30.
people.
I'd say
If that's what you're going on.
32.
Mafia, one of the Mafia games from a few years back. They had
Mafia 3,
no, not the newest one with the
because that was trash.
yeah, that was
Mafia
trash.
2.
I think it may have been 2 or it might have been the original. I'm not sure, but that
First one was
had
really bad. The second one was good.
yeah, that had like a part in it where you played the game as an always, you took over the bits you did the things you needed, and then you could actually promote people within your mafia to be like certain people,
Yeah.
and that had the whole side mechanic where you could send them then to take over businesses or get money from businesses and things like that.
I
So
don't remember that,
yeah, that
But
was
it's funny you mention that. There's a game coming up this year. It should be in the spring. Called Empire of Sin. You do exactly that in a lot more detail.
So
But again,
what
you
is
guys won't like it
your
because it's going to be turn-based.
So what is your A, Gavin?
my A. Ooh, ooh. All right, so I agree with Assassin's Creed, but my A has to be AC Odyssey. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now I am not
It's
a
funny how you guys both picked
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Second tops.
Now,
I'm
I
not gonna
don't like that you both picked Ubisoft over Bethesda
now
because I went Bethesda. You guys went Ubisoft.
that's the
That's
that's the thing though.
but
I never played the original Assassin's Creeds.
I did.
When I did play them, I didn't enjoy them.
I
Now
played every single one of them.
I played
so
Black Flag.
it's-
I enjoyed Black Flag. I never completed it. But I played Odyssey, and I'm 92 hours into it now, and I'm
Yeah, I
about
still
to
haven't finished it. I need to actually fucking
Yeah.
get back on it and complete it. To be fair,
I'm
but
really
time.
really enjoying it.
I think you
I'm not
played
gonna
more than me,
disagree.
dude. In the end,
I'm not
it
going to
was a very
disagree.
good game.
It's still a very
The
good
problem
game.
for
no doubt.
me was that it described the game as being of you having narrative options,
It
and
was a
I
fake.
proved
It was fake.
that wasn't right true.
Yeah, that was fake. That was completely
there
fake.
were maybe four points in that game where, depending on what you've
said
done,
matters.
there would be a different outcome. But apart from that, there was nothing.
No.
It was all preset out, and it's a shame because again, like you, I spent a lot of time in that game, but I was disappointed because they advertised it as something.
You see, I heard
I
as
get
well
that. That's
before
fair
I
enough.
started it to choose the female character because her lines of dialogue and all that were a bit more interesting and more believable, whereas the guys weren't as
I picked the
good.
guy.
Yeah.
I
That
picked a guy. Yeah,
to be honest, out of every game I've ever played, this Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the first time I've actually played as a female character.
That's just
I
sick.
think it's the
I thought
first time you have a choice, dude. To be fair,
No, it's not.
No, not in just
Not in the
Assassin's
Assassin's Creed.
I mean, like
Oh.
every game I've played that you
Oh,
can
okay.
choose. I
No,
normally
I've
just stick
played.
with a male character.
No, I've
Yeah.
played as female characters before in other games, but
Yeah, Calvin likes being a female. To be fair,
Yeah,
hey mate,
that's
it's
his
just
weekends.
it's nice. It's nice that you can just look down and see.
I like my
them
pink
there.
nails.
so your guys triple S rated. You've already told us, Gavin. You've already put it up, and Marty, you already said you put it as yours as well. So I guess mine is the end of the video,
Yours is
as you
the end
guys
of
have
the video.
already spoken about.
Yeah, well, we've
GTA.
already spoke about it. So I mean, at the end of the day, GTA, yeah, it's. I'm going to say this now. It's still going fucking strong.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of
it's-
improvements that can be done to the game, but
Yeah,
it's still something that does bring.
You see, for a player like me, who's I put effort into that game, but I'm only level 50.
Yeah.
It would take like 100 hours plus to get into that game and to get everything I need to,
it won't take that long, mate. We can do it in a lot less time. Don't worry about that.
Can I be asked? No,
No,
I can't be asked.
That's
That's the thing.
That's
I've
fair
got
enough.
other
That's fair
players
enough.
that want to play the game, but it's too much grind for me. There's no point.
If you sit and stay focused when you're playing it, it'll be fantastic. But
Yeah,
if you
That's fine.
do like we do and you get easily distracted with a freaking
We do get easily
ray gun,
distracted.
it's the end result.
It's just
Well,
yes, but it's just
well, my
it's just-
triple S rated game, the best game on my list is The Witcher 3. Again, it's a single player open world game, but that game has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
People are watching a series that just come out on Netflix and they are replaying the game. In fact, that game has seen more people playing it the last month than was more than when it originally came out. which I think
That's
is
quite funny. That's
incredibly
the way it's
surprising.
done. That, to be totally honest.
Well, it
Yeah.
happens with a lot of people because a lot of people would actually see the series and think that looks really good, and obviously think to themselves, you know, even people who've not played it before will look at it and think, you know, I'd like to play that because. But it is just the series.
Even
is...
but even celebrities have played this game, and like
Yes.
I say, even celebrities, but a lot of celebrities have gamers have started playing this game as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, don't forget, this
I'm
is
not
a
gonna-
game
I'm not
that
gonna- I'm-
inspired Gwent, which is its own standalone game now. This
Yeah,
was a
because-
mini game within Witcher 3 that went on to be its own bloody game.
That's good. That is
I
good.
was going to say I've not heard.
I'm not going to
about
disagree.
anything else.
I'm not going to disagree with that at all. I know it's a very good game. It's very fucking long story as well.
And again, the funny thing is, this game happens to be a game that I have not completed. I spent a lot of time in that game only to realise that I'd pretty much only done the side quest.
I still haven't done the first mission.
And I was like, oh no.
Not got your brother.
But yeah.
Oh, man.
But you know, I will get back to that game eventually, and yeah, have another go. But it was a really good game, and the thing is, that game was made for adults. With the content that was in that game, you can purely see it was not designed for. You know,
I'd love
it
to
was a
see
game
how
that
this
was
is played
that was
out on
made
screen.
for-
By the way, how our choices
for
sort
adults.
of fared out. It's going to be totally fucking weird.
What do you mean?
Just
So,
'cause
that was
we're all
our list
on
of the
different
decade.
Points. Yeah, because we've gone on proper different points for different things.
different
I mean,
things,
obviously, yeah,
Cool.
we've gone GTA for our best, and
He's got
James has
Witcher.
gone for
I mean, I agree with Witcher.
which
Witcher was.
is a massive difference to the
I
games. Like,
I
they're
couldn't get
completely
into it though.
different
I'm
genre.
probably just a shit player where that's concerned though.
I think it's one of those games as well, though, that obviously, as James has just stated out, it's you've got to put a lot of
A lot
time and effort
into it,
into it.
yeah.
You don't have to. That's the thing. If you want to just go for story mode, you can go for story mode. You don't. The thing is about that game, it's optional.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes,
the
it is
thing with me
optional,
is
but
I
this-
like doing what I want to do when I want to do it, which is
Yeah,
why
but
I
this
got
is-
so
this is-
caught
but-
up in the
that's the
side
other-
quest, same as Skyrim.
But that's the other problem for me and Gavin. We get very easily sidetracked.
Yeah. Very, very.
Yeah, I mean, knowing your schedules, I wouldn't say start playing this game, but
No.
you know, it is one of those games that
So,
was a great game.
I would say that was a good list, to be fair.
Yeah. As always,
I don't
guys,
care what anyone else thinks.
if you don't like it, feel free to make your own and send us it because every person's different. But as from me, Marty, and James, or Monk, as I'm meant to be calling him, but I keep getting it wrong because I'm an idiot.
So,
That was our top 10. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be doing a worst games as well. But that'll be a later date.
that's going to be a fun
It's
conversation.
gonna be a fun conversation. So, as always, stay tuned for more shit.